right? Somebody has changed this to company. So here you can see what is anything which is coming in the drop down. Like for example, you can see active and inactive, right? So this is a pick list. So if you have to create any pick list, so like this, you can go ahead and create your pick list. Okay. So in this session, so the last time that you can see, we actually have hidden this, right? So you can see default pay group and default location. But however, default pay group and default location, it is still coming here, right? So first thing what I'm going to do, I'm going to hide this. So if I come into my duplication and in your duplication, where we go have to do that, we have to do that in the configure object definition. So I'll come into the configure object definition, and in your configure object definition, um, all right, so in your configure object definition, we're going to select your object definition and we're going to select your uh, company from here. Though it's a legal entity, but somebody has changed this name to company now. So I'll select this company. So you can see company, it is coming here. And what we're going to do first, we're going to hide your default pay group and default location, right? Because as per your this sheet, we don't want this default pay group and default location in the system. So I'll make this correction. So with this make correction, you will see default pay group and default location. So it is coming here. So I'm going to select this detail, and after selecting this detail, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it here as a um, not visible, right? So here I'm going to make it as a not visible default pay group, and default location also I'll make this as a not visible. So I'll come into this section, and here you can see it is coming here as a not visible. All right. And I will save your this section. The moment you save your this section, you will see this will become as a not visible. So here if we go ahead with this detail, and after this, if you come into your manage data, so if I refresh this, you will see default pay group and default location. It is no longer coming into your this sessions, right? Then we had another row, which was a standard weekly hour, but this has to be mandatory. So you can see standard weekly hour also, it is not coming mandatory. So how are we going to make this mandatory? We're going to come here, make correction. And in your make correction, you can see there's a standard weekly hour. Select this detail option, and in your detail option, when you come here, you will see your we want to make this as a mandatory, right? So here you will see that it is coming here as a mandatory option. And after this mandatory, I'm going to come here, save your this session. Now once you will refresh this, it will come here, become as a mandatory detail. It will start showing up there. All right. Right. So now let's just come here and refresh this. You will start seeing your this detail. So you can see this standard weekly hour, it has become mandatory. Now let's talk about the pick list. So pick list row, it is 18 and 19. So before we talk about the existing pick list, what we are going to do, I'm going to show you how we can change your how we can create a new pick list. So how we going to create a new pick list? I'm going to create it here as a city. All right, and in this city, I am going to see this is will be my label, and inside this city, I'm going to have your New Delhi, and your another city which I'm going to take it as a Ayodhya. All right, so these two drop down which I want. So first thing I'll have to create this source value. So where you're going to create this source value, you need to create your source value into your, let's another duplicate your screen. So if we duplicate your another screen, so what you will do, you will come here as a admin center, and in your admin center, so click your, I hope it is, let's see that if the source value, it is coming in the managed data. I don't think so. It comes, yeah, it's supposed to be in your managed data only. It's not coming. Uh, okay, it is not coming here. Hold on. So if I type it here as a pick list, so you can see pick list center, right? So from pick list center, you'll have to create it, all the source value, right? So we're going to create it in pick list center, right? So you have your pick list center, and from your pick list center, what you'll be doing, So you'll come into your system. So you can see these are the existing pick list which is coming, right? So if you want to make any of the existing pick list changes, like for example, you can see there is a blood group. So if I click on the blood group and this is active, so if you double click on this, so you will see all these blood group, it will start showing up here, right? Minus O, AB positive, A positive, B positive, right? So you can see all these pick list value, it is coming here, right? So I'm going to create my own pick list. So here this will be the pick list. So you need to click on the plus sign. The moment you click on the plus sign, you can see there is a code. So which code I am going to take it? I'm going to take this code as a city. All right, because inside this city, I'm going to create this pick list. So I'm sure that there would be, what is the name of my company, Bala? ADP, right? No, ADP. So I'll take it as a ADP city. Why I'm taking it as a ADP city? Because I'm sure that in previous session or before that, I would have taken this code as a ADP city, right? So city will certainly exist. So in such cases, what I'm doing, I'm taking as a ADP city. I'll take it as a today is you can see it is with the US system. So what it has done, it has taken it up as a February 2, right? So with the February 2, it is showing you your this detail, and I'm going to save you this information. So the moment you save your this information, you will see that it has taken up here, right? And then what you need to do, you need to add the source value. What is your source value? You have your source value as a New Delhi. So I'm going to copy this New Delhi and I'm going to bring this into external code and in the label as a New Delhi. And I'm going to save it. So you can see rest of the detail, it is not mandatory, right? So you can just come here and create this. So we have created one source value. I'm going to create another one also. Another one also, I have your this detail as a Ayodhya, right? So I'm going to copy this as an Ayodhya and I'm going to bring this as an Ayodhya here. So here you can see my two source value I have created, right? But the original, my ADP city. So just the way you have given this ADP source value, right? So same way you will have to assign this as a source value also. Otherwise it will not work. So where we going to assign this source value? We're going to come here into your configure object definition, and we are doing this into your company, right? So if you come here, make your correction. In your correction, what you will do, so here this is your field which is ending, right? So I'll create this new field here. So in your this field, I'm creating as a city. So inside your this city, how much is the length you want? I'll take it as a 255. What we are doing, we are creating as a pick list, right? So this is a pick list. I'll give this and come here into the detail. First in a detail that you have what label you want to give. So I want to give this label as a city. And what is the source value that we have created? You can see source value, it is coming here. Valid source value, right? And the source value, we gave it as a ADP city. And you can see it is all in a small, right? So here I'll give this as a ADP city. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make this as a done. And I'm going to save your this information. So the moment you will save your this information, you will see it will start reflecting into your system. Right? So if I come here into your this system, so if I refresh your this area, in your this area, you will see it has started coming your city, right? And if I select this here, you will see the drop down Ayodhya and New Delhi has started coming, right? So this is how you create your city and you also create your drop down. Okay. Bala, is it fine? All right. So this is how you create a new pick list. Now let's see how they have done the existing system. In existing system, you can see they have a state and a scope. But you can see here there is status. No, this is a status. There is let me just see. Try to bring it, Bala, your one of the state into the systems. And all right, then we will talk. Let me just because somebody, it's a demo system, right? So there's a lot of practice what people they do. So let me see. There is a state coming here. Oh, I don't see that there is any state here defined. There is no state coming here. You can define this in any, I'm just showing that in a company, right? So let me create a state and scope it is coming in. Let me create a state and scope and then I'll show you. Okay. Just give me 1 minute, Bala, because somebody has made those changes, so I have to create this again. Okay, now you will see state and scope will start coming. Acha, both are coming as a state only. Oh goodness. Hold on. Let me again change this label. And search for the state one. Right? So I'll select it as a state one. You can see this is as a state one and and if you select this as an active, you can see here you can add your value. So if you click on the plus sign, what is the value? Your value is as a picklist region. So you can copy your this section and then what you can do, you can make this as a picklist region label and everything and go ahead and create this. All right. So once you do that, and again, if you refresh your this section, you will see your in a state, your picklist region will start coming. So here if I again open this, you will see picklist region, it has started coming, right? So like this, you can add your uh, new list value to the existing pick list. So again, you can see there is a new pick list which is coming here, which is a pick list scope. So you have to add this your pick list into pick list scope into your scope. Let's come into the system. You can see the scope it is coming here. Let's see if there is any pick list scope. So you can see there is no pick list scope it is coming here, right? So how you're going to add this? You will have to see that what is a scope source value it is coming, that you can see it is coming as a scope only, right? So come into the picklist center and in your picklist center search for your scope. So if you search for your scope, you can see this is a scope source value it is coming. make it active and come here, add your this sign, and in your this sign what you can do, you can work on your picklist scope, right? Just copy your this section and give it a label here as a picklist scope and create your this section. The moment you create your this section, again if you refresh this, you will see that it will start reflecting into your this area. So here you will see that it will start reflecting into your scope also. So in your scope, you can see picklist scope, it is coming here, right? So like this, you can see all your this section. Now with this, we have configured all your managed data detail, right? So just the way I have done it for the managed data legal entity, same way you can do that for the your right? So you can do that for the business unit. You can also do for the division. You can do for the location, right? And you can also see in the location, which is coming here as a country specific location, right? Like United States, France, and job classification, right? So like this, you can also do for the job classification and the pay range. Okay. So with this, we have done with the managed data detail. Now another detail that we have here, it is that is starting with your succession data, right? So 7 point, if you look at here, this is how we have done with the foundation object. So succession data is a combination of both, which is the second and third option. So in your these two, second and the third option, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead with the, you can see it is another workbook, which is a employee data. So if you open up your another workbook, which is there with the employee data, again, you will see all these cover pages, right? So you both the workbook, you will see here, it is coming here as a Acme Wheel Corp. So in this your Wheel Corp, again you will have to change this your detail, right? So we are doing it for the ADP. So in this section, what you're going to do, you have to make it for the ADP, ADP Private Limited, right? So like this you can, and also change your contact information and the headquarter detail, it is coming here. Then you have a TOC. TOC, it is a table of content, and table of content, it is, you can see here, which is a biographical information, right? So this is all your personal data. So biographical information, personal information, national ID, home address, you can see the employment information, job information. So you can see all these section and detail, it is coming into the table of content. Introduction, it's like, something which I already, we're going to discuss this into your introduction to mastery. And then you also have your general information. So general information, it's nothing, it's just your, you are talking about your all these label which is coming, right? So this is a general information. Then you have a biographical information. So biographical information, it is your all those section that way we're going to change those biographical detail and section. So you can see your biographical section, it is coming into your those area, right? So here we're going to see your all these biographical information, which is going to be into your this section. All right, so let's see here what all those changes we're going to make into your this section. So here we going to come here and we going to go ahead and so here you can see all your this section. So you can see all your this whole area and everything it is coming here. So the first detail, it is coming here into your biographical information, right? So where do we change this biographical information? If you come here into your this section, you will see your succession data. You make those changes into your um, succession data. You make changes into the manage business configuration, right? So where you're going to see your succession data, you're going to see your succession data into the employee file. So if you come into this section and if you come into the employee file, you will see into all these into your employee file. And in your employee file, if you come here, you will see all these area. So what it is talking about, it is talking about the biographical information, right? So search for the biographical information where it is coming. So here you can see this biographical information it is coming, right? So inside this, what changes what they're asking? So this is the ACME requested change and they're asking us to make this field as a mandatory. Which field should we make it as a mandatory? Date of birth. So let's see where is the date of birth it is coming here. So if I click on into your this section, you will see date of birth it's already coming as a mandatory, right? But if you come here into your manage business configuration, because we make the succession data changes into the manage business configuration, right? So if you come into the manage business configuration, you will see your all these data it will start coming, right? So here you will see that biographical information. So here you can see the label, it is coming as a compensation information. But if you click on this personal info, you will see that your biographical information has started coming here, right? So once you have your this biographical information, and in that case, what we have to do, we have to make date of birth as a mandatory. So you can see date of birth, it is coming as a mandatory, right? If I make this as a no, and if I save your this section, so after saving your this section, you will see that your date of birth, it will become as a non-mandatory now. So here, once we have your this detail, so after your this detail, you will see that your date of birth, it will become as a not mandatory. So if I again come here and refresh this, so in your this particular section, you will see date of birth, it will become as a non-mandatory now. So if I scroll down further below into the biographical information, and if I click on your this section, Vala, there is, because there are so many hands which is actually involved into the session. So you can see your all these biographical information. You can see it is not working, right? So in that case, what we can do, we can just come into the personal information. So in your personal information, you can see what changes the client has said. They want this salutation, right? So let's see in the personal information whether salutation is coming here or not. So here you can see salutation, it is coming here, right? So what your client is saying, they don't want this field, they don't want this field to be mandatory. Oh, you can see it is coming as a not mandatory, right? So where is salutation? Salutation, it is coming as a not mandatory, right? But what your client, it is saying, acha, let's suppose if we make this field as a mandatory, all right. So how are we going to do that? We're going to come into the your this make correction, and you need to come to your personal information, right? Because we are making changes into the personal information. Correct. Then in your personal information, what you're going to do, you're going to search for the salutation. Here it is a salutation. If you look at this salutation, it is which is coming here. Here you have a enable, and here you have a mandatory option. So in the mandatory option, what we're going to do, we're going to make it here as a yes. The moment you make it here as a yes, and if you save your this section, you will see salutation will become as a mandatory. All right, so I'll go ahead with this yes option. So once we come here into the yes section, and with your yes section, you will see it will become as a mandatory detail. So here, once you come into your this area, so again, if we refresh your this section, so you will see salutation, it will become as a mandatory now. You can see salutation has become as a mandatory, right? Right, so like this, you can see all these changes. So let's come into the eighth row. In eighth row, again, you can see there is a changes. Client does not want to see this field suffix, right? So we have to hide this suffix from the system. So let's see whether suffix is coming here, right? What the client, they do not want to see this field. How you going to hide this? Again, if you come into make correction, you can see suffix is coming here, right? So this is actually a mandatory. So I don't want to make this as a mandatory, but I'm going to also hide this. So your this section which is coming here, which is enable or disable, right? So here you have the suffix. I don't want this field to be visible. So you can see I have made this as a no, not enable. And I'm going to save your this section. So if you come here and into your save your this section, once you come here and save your this section, you will see suffix will become as a not, this field will not be visible into the system now any longer. All right, so I'll come here into your this session, and with your this session, we will see it will become as a not visible here now. So here, if I come into your this area, and once you come into your this area, and if I refresh your this section, you will see suffix will go away. Right? You can see suffix is no longer coming here, right? Right? So like this, you can actually hide and decide. So here you can see with enable, you can actually make your those changes, and with the mandatory, you can make it as a required or the not required option. Now let's see another one. In the gender, you can see they have made it as a mandatory. Right? So how are we going to make this as a mandatory? So let's come here and see the gender. So you can see gender, it is coming here, right? So if I make these changes here, let's see whether gender is coming as a mandatory or not. So if I again, so you can see gender is coming as a not mandatory, right? Right. So we have to make this as a mandatory. So how are we going to make this mandatory? Make correction and come to your gender. So here you will see your gender. Where is gender? It is coming. So if I scroll down into this section, you can see gender, it is coming here, and I'm going to make this as a mandatory. Fine. So I'll make this as a mandatory, and here you will see your other detail. If I save you this section, it will start displaying it. So if I save you this area, so with your this area, what will happen once it is saved, and if I refresh your this section, you will see gender will become as a not mandatory now. So if I come here into your this section, and here into this section, you can see gender, it is coming here. And if I click into your this section, you will see it has become as, oh, it's still coming as mandatory. Oh, we made it mandatory. All right. So here you can see, so here it has become as a mandatory option, right? So it is coming as a mandatory, right? So like this, you can see you can change your all these sections. Now let's suppose you want to change this, label for the gender. So how you going to change this label for the gender? So you can come here, make correction. I have told you, Bala, if you remember, this is a system ID, right? In system ID, we don't make any changes, right? So here, if you come into this section, you can see this is HRIS, this is a field, right? System ID, we don't make any changes, but you can always make the changes to the label, right? So let's see that where the gender is coming. So if you can see the gender, it is coming, right? So my company name is ADP Gender. So no, well, in actually nobody will write as a ADP as their company name, right? But in this case, I'm just writing as a ADP as a company name just to show you that how you can change the label in the succession data. So I'll come here and into your this section, I'll save your this detail. Once you save your this detail, you will start seeing your all these sessions will start coming. So your so once you save your this area, you will see that your label will change for the gender. So again, if I come here and refresh this, so again, if I make this as a correction, so here in your correction, you will see that this detail will start coming here, right? So here you will see your gender is coming as a ADP gender, right? But in actually nobody will make those changes, right? Nobody will have a company name coming, right? So I'm going to make these changes here now. This was just to show you that how you can make, so here it is coming as a gender. I'm going to remove this ADP. And then again, I'll save it this section. The moment you will save your this section, again, it will return back to the gender. So again, if I save your this area, so in your this area, you will see again it will return back to the gender. So here again, you can see this is about to save. And again, if I refresh your this section, you will see that it will come here as a gender only. It will not come as a ADP gender, right? So you can see now it is displaying as a gender. So we have discussed about how you can change the label. We have discussed about what is enable, like if you don't want to make this field visible into the system, you can hide this. And then we have also talked about the mandatory option, right? If you want to make any particular field mandatory and not mandatory. Now let's see something else. Like for example, you can see, Bala, in your personal information, you can see your marital status is not coming as a hidden, right? Okay, so let's suppose you want this gender also to be hidden. All right. So how you going to do that? So you come into your manage business configuration. In your manage business configuration, you can see gender, it is coming, right? So click on the detail section. Once you click on the detail section, you can see it is coming here as a mask, right? So if you make this as a mask, yes, what it will do, it will show you as your, if you save your this information, it will take, it will mask your gender now. All right, so if I come into your this session, so here with this session you will see, and if I come here into your profile, so in your profile I want to come here, and if I refresh this, so you will see gender will be taken as a mask. So if I refresh into your this area, so into your this area you will see into your mask it will come, right? So here you can see it is not visible now, correct? So if you want to make this visible, what you have to do, you have to show this, or either you hide this as a mask option. So I'm going to hide this as a mask option because that was just to show you how you can work on it. Right, so this is the gender. So I'll come here into the details section and I'm going to remove this mask as a no. All right. So here this is as a mask as a no, and I'm going to come here and save your this section. So once you save your this section, you will also see that your so you will see your all these section and details. So here you will see all your whole area and it is come here. And again, if you make it here, you will see gender will not come as a mask section. Alright, so if I refresh into your this session, so here you will see gender is not coming at the mask. Now let's see what else we can do here. So here in the make correction, I'll come here and so I've shown you how you can change the label, how you can make this as a visible, not visible, and how you can make this as a mandatory and not mandatory. If I come into the details section, in the details section, you can also see visibility, which I've already shown you, right? Marks, I think that is all those details. You can make the changes into the succession data. So just the way I have shown you for the personal, okay, there is one thing more. This is about the pick list. So let me show you how you can create a pick list into your succession data. So like for example, in your personal information, the pick list you will see here, like you can see your marital status, right? Marital status you can see here, it is coming here, single, divorce, and all these details. So single, it is already coming. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create as a pick list here as a ADP single. All right. So here I'll come and I'll create as a ADP single. So I'll create your this pick list, and so here you can in the drop down I'm going to create it. So first I'll have to come here and select this marital status and see my source value. So what is my source value? It is coming here. You can see the source pick list here. It is coming as a EC marital status, right? So once you have a EC marital status, you need to come into the pick list center. Once you come into the pick list center, search for here as a EC. What was that? Marital status, right? So EC marital status. So if you search for this, you can see EC marital status has started coming here, right? If you click on this active and if you click on this plus sign, so what source value we have to do that? ADP single, right? So I'll give this as a ADP single, and so here you can see ADP single has been taken up here, and I'm going to create your this section. So once you create your this section, you will see ADP single will start coming here. So if you refresh, so here also you will see that ADP single will start coming where it is coming. You can see ADP single is coming into the last, right? And if you come here into your this session also, and here again, if you click on this, you will see that in the marital status, ADP single has started coming here, right? So like this, you can, now I have shown you the pick list, how it has to be done into the corporate data. And I've also shown you how the pick list has to be done into the succession data also, okay? So with this, we have finished out with the succession data changes also. So just the way I have done it into your this section, you can do it for the home address also. Like, okay, one more thing, when you do it for the home address, and if you come into the picklist center, configure objects, those changes, right? So here you will see the home address, it will come here like this. So home address, it is here, right? So this is the general home address. But if you want to make changes to the country specific home address, so where you're going to do that, you're going to unlock this one. The moment you unlock, so you can see all these country specific home detail that is coming here, right? Like for example, you can see this is for Australia, then this is for where it is. This is for France. No, this is for France, right? So if you click, if you want to make the country specific home changes, so like this, you can go ahead and make those country specific home changes. Okay. All right. Now we are also done with your this detail also, Bala. So we have done your managed data. We have also done with the succession data also, right? And we have also shown you how where you can make those changes. Now another topic is your that how all those object and element which are present into your manage organization pane job structure, how we going to make those changes. So we're going to make those changes into the XML. Now this is a bit tricky, and since Sana hasn't joined today, so what I'll do, I'll cover this topic tomorrow. All right. So, from here, XML part of it, I'll start this tomorrow. Okay. Chalo. Okay then, Bala. And one thing more,
This
Bala,
conference is no longer being recorded.
you have to make your remaining payment. All right, fine, Bala. No problem, Bala. I can understand because you told me in the starting only, right? So it's okay with me, no problem. Okay. Chalo. Yeah. Okay then.